I want to tell you a story. The story begins in East Africa, cuts to London, journeys to Russia and the Ukraine, and ends up in Switzerland. This is the story of the New Zion, or the East African Promised Land. In August 1903, Sir Joseph Chamberlain of the British Colonial Office offered a large piece of land, about half the size of Israel, to resettle there up to 1 million East European Jews who were suffering violence and brutality, especially in Russia and the Ukraine. Sir Chamberlain did not make this offer because he liked the Jewish people. The construction of the Uganda Railway at the end of the 19th century was widely criticized in England because it had cost so much to construct. And in 1902, when the railroad began its operation, there was not much use for it, going almost empty from Mombasa to Lake Victoria and back. In short, the Lunatic Express, as it was called, seemed at that time to be a very bad investment. Million hard-working Jews, Sir Chamberlain thought, will make the area prosperous and the train profitable. This proposal, mistakenly called the Uganda Plan, was presented to Dr. Theodor Herzl, the founding father of modern Zionism. To Herzl's astonishment and disappointment, the proposal had divided the Jews and almost crushed the newly established Zionist movement. A year and a half later, after Herzl's death, on January 12, 1905, a commission of 3 men arrived at the port of Mombasa on a quest to survey the proposed region. It sounds like a beginning of a joke. A Christian, a Muslim, and a Jew arrived to East Africa. But it is not a joke. Major Gibbons of the Royal Army, a Christian, was the head of the expedition. Professor Alfred Kaiser, a Swiss biologist who converted to Islam, and Nachum Willabush, a young Jewish engineer from Russia, joined him. They took the Uganda Railway to Nakuru, which today is one of the largest cities in Kenya, and on the 23rd of January, 1905, with 40 porters and a Maasai guide, they toured by foot the Promised Land for 5 weeks. Upon their return to Europe, their reports were published, while Major Gibbons saw a real potential for the plan if it would be done slowly and professionally. Willabush's report was very negative. He wrote that the land that was offered was not suitable because of poor soil, lack of water, and harsh weather conditions. Willabush summed his report, "Where nothing exists, nothing can be done." The land that was offered by the British is the county of Uasin Gishu, a very fertile place in East Africa, which is considered to be the breadbasket of Kenya. David Matlow is one of the largest private collectors of Dr. Herzl memorabilia, and he owns a rare original report of the expedition. David sent me a copy of the report. In 1965, Professor Robert Weisbord published a book called African Zion, the attempt to establish a Jewish colony in the East Africa Protectorate. 60 years later, his book is still considered to be the most comprehensive research of this affair. I asked the professor why the report was so far from the truth.
He was an engineer. Whether they'd qualified him to make a judgment on the agricultural potential of the Uasin Gishu Plateau is for every person to make his own decision. I just don't know enough about it. It's a question, a mystery that I've never really been able to resolve.
I became very curious. And after a long research, I decided to travel to Uasin Gishu and try to understand, and maybe resolve, this mystery. I have a copy of the report, their maps, their daily traveling ledger, their coordinates, and a book called The Quest to Uganda that was written by Willabush. I asked Chalo, a geographer, to help me find the exact places they had traveled and camped.
I've sent you so that you see. But the fifth one, I'm very sure about the February 5th. I'm sure about it.
So, on Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021, at 4 a.m., I began my personal quest following in the footsteps of the expedition. Not by train and not by foot, but by a 4x4 safari jeep. I took with me my Maasai friend Corietta, Frank the tour guide, and Mushi the cameraman, and we traveled for a few days to and around Uasin Gishu. Every now and then we could still see the old railway tracks that were laid down so many years ago. Today, they are not in use anymore, but nobody ever told that to the zebras that are still waiting for the train to come. We arrived in the afternoon to Eldoret, which is the principal city of Uasin Gishu.
600 meters, turn left.
From here on, we would use Chalo's instruction that he installed on my cell phone.
In 200 meters, turn left.
From Willabush Report, February 3rd, 1905. For the first half of the way, there was modestly good grass, isolated trees and acacias. No traces of human habitation.
Your destination is on the left.
In the evening, we camped on a swamp with hippos, storks, waterbucks, and antelopes. Nice. Chalo's instructions were precise and accurate.
Continue for 1.5 kilometers.
It seems that today is a bit more complicated than yesterday.
In 150 meters, make a U-turn.
But luckily, in this part of the world, you can always ask for help from a friendly neighbor. How far Mount Surgoi is from where we're standing now?
Surgoi is there.
Yeah, I know, but how many
And now at that
kilometers?
time, it was this time it is called Surgoi Hill. It is
Right.
not a mount.
Right,
So mountain,
right.
this is wrong.
But it stayed the same place. It didn't move, right?
Yeah.
120 years ago it was
was
there,
there.
right? With Chalo and the neighbor instructions, we finally arrived. Frank, our tour guide, asked 3 nice locals in Kiswahili about water and agriculture. They were surprised to learn about the proposal, but they were even more surprised to hear that this land was declared unsuitable for humans.
Unachimba urefu unatosanaje?
Not
Kwenda
so far. Karibu 30 meters. 30. Even 30 feet.
30 feet. Kwa hizi mashamba mnalima nini?
Mahindi,
Kila kitu.
ngano,
Mahindi.
Mainly ni mahindi na
yeah,
wheat.
cash crops.
5 בפברואר, שהיה מיועד לפי התוכנית לחזור בו אל המחנה הראשי על יד הר סרגוי ולהיפגש עם מר קייזר. קמנו בבוקר השכם והלכנו 12 מייל מזרחה בכיוון לצפון הר סרגוי, כי לפי המפה נמצא שם נחל מים. גם המסאי שלי אישר כי מעיין נמצא בצפון ההר. כשהגענו אל המקום מצאנו את הנחל יבש, בלי מים לחלוטין. The expedition took a Maasai guide with them, and so did I. My good friend Corietta, who like many of his Maasai tribe members, truly believes that they are one of the lost tribes of Israel. The Maasai people were able to preserve their traditional ways, and among other things, the olive tree is sacred for them, the white and blue colors are meaningful, and believe it or not, one of the names of God in their language is Pa Sanai, meaning our God of Sinai.
Jeremiah 29:25. Again, we see the Maasai written in the Bible.
Corietta reads his Bible in a Maasai language.
Nji ejo olairoriani loloranianga ye Israel irewayie mpala tenkarna ilono old ino airiwaki iltung'anak pooki le Jerusalem o Sefanaya olayioni lemaasai.
I think I'll be able to solve the mystery that surrounded the Uganda plan. And besides the beliefs of the Maasai tribe, I intend to touch a few more subject matters that are integral in my quest. The constructions of the railroad, the ways of the British colonial government, the arrival to Kenya of Lord Delamere and the first white settlers who were strongly against the plan, the arrival of the first 7 Jews headed by Abraham Bloch from South Africa, the support of the Bishop of Mombasa of the plan and the spread of Christianity in Kenya, the establishment of Nairobi, which was picked at that time only as a storage place for the railroad, the rebellion of the Nandi people against the British that lasted for 10 years, and a few of them attacked the expedition on their way back. And just a food for thought. What would have happened to the fate of the Jewish people, to the state of Israel and Kenya, if the proposal was accepted?